Good evening, welcome. Would you please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Tiffany, you have the roll call?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Resolve the Board of Education approve the agenda for the May 6th, 2024 regular Board of Education meeting.
So moved.
Don? Tom? Don't expect any discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And now we'll commence with the spotlight, but we have kind of a special note this evening because this week is Teacher Appreciation and Staff Appreciation Week. So we thought it would be kind of interesting to relate some of our experiences and how much teachers have meant to us in our life. I've had many outstanding teachers who've had a big influence on me, but a couple in particular. I remember my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Marilyn Henry, had us doing all these group projects, and it never occurred to me, but after the fact, I understand that taught us a lot about working in groups, getting along with people, and doing things, collaboratively. Another long-term memory is my high school English teacher, Mrs. Marilyn Henry, who used literature and poetry to teach us great character traits. And one of my best memories is when she required us to memorize and write a paper on the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. It's a thoughtful read if you haven't read it. So I pulled it out and read it again, and it was just as impressionable as ever. So, Andrew?
I had a teacher when I was in high school at Liverpool, and I had her for a study hall. She was a trigonometry teacher, and I was struggling. And she invited me into her classroom and made me do all the work that her students did, along with all the extra homework. And that's what got me through that year. So I was very happy to have Ms. Portrigues. Thomas?
Am I on?
So, I, as a job, what I do is I work with college students that are going to become teachers. And one of the things that I always talk to them about, and they're tired of me hearing it from me probably by the end of the semester, is this idea of impact, right? The impact that teachers can have on students. And so, the one person that came to mind actually isn't a teacher that I had. It's a teacher that my son. Nothing to do with me. It's a teacher that my son had when he was at Palmer Elementary. Back when he had her name was Miss Gianquitti. She's now Mrs. Kick. And she was a teacher that my son Sammy had for a couple of years. I think he had her in 4th and in 5th grade. And the thing that stood out to me was the impact that she had on him in terms of the teaching, the learning that he did, but most importantly, how he felt in the classroom, how he felt included, he felt valued. And one of the things that I think is the mark of a great educator is those types of relationships that they form with their students. My son's 26 now, lives in Pittsburgh, and every time I see Susie, she asks how he's doing. And he does the same because he knows that I work with her professionally because she does some stuff with me at Syracuse University. So not anybody that person was my teacher, but somebody that definitely had an impact on my family. And I think that's the important thing to pay attention to. So thanks.
So I was also able to work with a lot of teachers involved in the school district. And I was able to work with some teachers and teaching assistants and teacher aides that helped me give students with disabilities the opportunity to participate in a friend-to-friend program. And for me, without them, I would not have been able to run that program. So I want to
I went through the Liverpool School District too, and Sue Patricus was my teacher for 2 years, math teacher. And right up until the very beginning of my senior year, 12th grade, I told her she was the best math teacher in the whole world. But I had a guy named Mr. Welch for physics. And the first day of physics class, he got up and he told the class, all right, we're gonna learn physics today. And he turned his back to the classroom and he just unloaded on his blackboard. He went, it was one of those 45-foot blackboards, covered the whole wall. And he went end to end for 20 minutes, just writing formulas and talking to the board, the blackboard, as though we were listening to him. And he gets over to the end of the board and he turns around and the whole class is pens are down and we've like melted. We have no idea what's going on. And he turns around and he stops and goes, don't you understand what I'm saying? And the whole classroom, ready to cry, said, no, we have no idea what you're doing. He goes, well, it's just math. And a very courageous young woman sitting next to me said, we don't know the language you're speaking. And he goes, it's interesting you say that. He says, it's just math. Don't you know what math is? We all said, well, no, apparently not. He said, math is just the language that we use to describe science. Right then, for about at least half of us in the room, that was the aha moment that every teacher looks for. It just, 12 years of math, 11 years of math, finally, suddenly just made sense. And that, to this day, that actually got into my teaching when I was in the classroom. That aha moment is just awesome. And as much as I enjoyed it while I was teaching, the best one was when I was a student.
Already me. You know, the lesson I learned over and over again, I think through a lot of my education, the first time I remember learning it was at Palmer Elementary in 3rd grade. It was Mrs. Acker. And I don't exactly remember what I was struggling with, but I just remember her graciously not letting me off the hook and prodding me to get through it in a way that I think it was the first time as a kid I learned the lesson that adversity was not a bad thing, and the struggle was something I had to push through. And then to experience the feeling of achievement on the other side of it, it was the first time I remember someone doing that for me, kind of expanding what I thought I was capable of. And I learned that lesson over and over again, but Mrs. Acker, I think, was the first one to teach it to me.
All right, so I went to CNS. I have a couple that I wanted to talk about. My 2nd grade teacher, Miss Talone, I actually moved to CNS from Liverpool, and her just kind of welcoming me to the team, to the group, and giving me that sense of belonging that I know all of our staff gives to our students was very impactful for me. In 5th grade, my music teacher, Mrs. Pease, she created, I guess, a love of music, and that was kind of opened my eyes to that and to creativity. And then in 9th grade, my social studies teacher, Miss Raganese, and her student teacher, Mr. Ryan. It was my first year of high school, and they kind of put everything in perspective, like you're growing up, you're almost an adult now, so it kind of taught me responsibility and accountability. And quick, I just wanted to say, just the list of teachers and people in the Beeville district that have had an impact on my life and my son's life. Chris Denton, one woman was sitting right there, Jen Turpinning. And even in elementary school, Mrs. Zimmer and Mrs. Bertrand, who still, every time I see them, they ask about my son. So it's crazy to think that they remember him out of the hundreds and hundreds of students that have come through. You know, and then all the other staff, you know, the guidance counselors, Miss Bushnell, who was very impactful for him as well. So, thank you.
Christy, it looks like you're muted, but did you have something to say?
Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, so like Sam, I wanted to talk a little bit about teachers in our special ed program that made such a profound impact on my son's life. You know, at Durkee, Mr. Manning and Mr. Cartier welcomed him into an honors English reading program, you know, given an IEP, you know, they didn't just discount it, and worried that he wasn't going to be able to do the work. And I think it really inspired his tact to become an English literature major in college. And then in high school, Mrs. Speech, Mrs. Beal, Mr. Cahill supported his academic success and helped him, they read the Regents, the AP exams, even the SAT to him to support his disability. And I'll never forget how these teachers made it possible for my son to be able to show his gifts and didn't just define him by his disability. And so I'm very happy to be able to talk a little bit about them tonight.
Well, thank you, everyone, and just, yeah, Maya, excuse me, sorry.
I say the first teacher that comes to mind is my 5th grade teacher. He doesn't mind me saying his name. His name's Mr. Ryan Fitz. I went to Eldon, and I'll always remember him, because even though I was, it was a tough year, but he was always just, right there supporting me, and he made it fun. He would, he had, just nicknames, and he would just make it, a better experience for me if I was just having a tough day. And so I think out of anybody, I'll always remember him when I think of my elementary experience and a teacher that I'm always grateful for, because he was always there.
Well, it's amazing the great things they do for our students. So it is, as I said, Teacher and Staff Appreciation. Tomorrow's National Teacher Appreciation Day, so thank you, teacher. And actually, Wednesday is National Nurse Appreciation Day. So thank you, nurse. I think we ought to give them a standing ovation. Thank you. Now I'll turn the spotlight over to Joe and Tom Bolt.
So given the help from all of our outstanding educators, we have great students that we can we have students that we can recognize and honor for some outstanding achievements. So this is the highlight of our meeting as usual. We're very excited on behalf of the Board of Education to recognize first our Scholastic Writing Awards recipients. This year we had 13 C.W. Baker High School students receive a total of 20 awards in the 2024 Scholastic Writing Awards competition. Gold Key works are automatically advanced to the national level of adjudication in New York City, and the national medalists will be announced on June 12th. So we're hopeful that we're going to see some of our students receive that great honor. So we're going to start off by announcing, we'll have on the screen there all the listing of our recipients and the recognition that they're receiving for their awards. So we'll start first with 11th grader, Miranda Bernard. You're here. She's being recognized for 2 Silver Key and 2 honorable mentions. Sierra or Brzee, 12th grader, Gold Key, Grandma's House. Uh, 11th grader, Madison DeStacy, honorable mention, my husband came home last night. 12th grader, Daniel Fenzel, honorable mention, 2 honorable mentions, one last smoke, and going out. 11th grader, Colin Hobb, Gold Key, The Father's Aftermath.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Shaking. 12th grader, Ella Holtman, Silver Key, Rough Reunion. 12th grader, Gold Key, The Art Kid, Zoe Howroyd. 11th grader with 2 silver keys, Eloise in the box. And honorable mention, Caitlin is dead, Sophia Kobish. 11th grader with silver key, Liminal. And honorable mention, the witch, Isabella Mitz. 12th grader, silver key, 10 years have passed, Lily Rogers. 11th grader, silver key, to remember a river, Aaron Seitzer. 11th grader, honorable mention, the roller coaster, Sadie Ward. And 12th grader, silver key, I wish I was blonde, Jessica Witz. Again, congratulations to all of our students. We're very proud of you, and fingers crossed for those of you that are moving on to the adjudication in New York, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that we see success on June 12th. Again, congratulations.
Swing in a little bit. Can you step forward this way? Yeah. And you come over this way. This side. You guys are hold the same height. Come forward.
Parents too, if you yes, come forward.
Perfect.
Parents, come up and take a picture if you want to, please.
All right. Everyone look at me first, okay? Perfect. Big smile. Thank you.
Again, congratulations. Next, we are very excited to recognize our 2024 Spelling Bee participants. We have Samuel Sam Merriweather, a 6th grader at Ray Middle School, and Salvatore Sam Massa, 5th grader at Palmer Elementary School. If they could both come up. They both competed in the final oral round of the Syracuse.com, the Post Standard Spelling Bee in March. Sam and Sam both made it to the round 5 of the Bee, which ended in round 6. So certainly great job to both of you. I'm not going to ask you what words you missed because I don't know that I could probably tell. my bet is on you over me. But I want to say congratulations on the board. We're all excited for you, and hopefully good things to come next year if you're participating again. So congratulations, parents, if you'd like pictures. Nice job. For our final staff spotlight, we're going to shift gears and we're going to recognize 2 of our staff members. So we're excited this evening to first recognize C.W. Baker High School Principal, Chris Denton. Why not, Chris? Principal Denton is being honored tonight for going above and beyond for the C.W. Baker High School students, staff, and families. He's extremely dedicated to our district and the Baldwinsville community. Mr. Denton serves as a leader of the OCM BOCES High School Principals Group. His experience, knowledge, and guidance are invaluable to his peers. Mr. Denton is also a champion for his students, and he works tirelessly to help students grow and succeed. Mr. Denton is also being honored tonight at the nomination of Assistant Principal Maggie McRobbie-Teru. Here's an excerpt from her nomination. Chris puts the Baker family in front of his own needs every day. He is here far before and after school. He extends support to families. During his treatment, he even put Baker first. This demonstrates the true meaning of leadership and responsibility, and I think we can all attest to that, and are certainly grateful for all of Chris' efforts and leadership for Baker High School. Thank you, Chris, Mr. Denton, for going above and beyond, and for exemplifying our district's goals to build, educate, and empower all of those around you. Congratulations.
Can you just put that folder back behind you? Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. And our final staff spotlight, McNamara Elementary School Librarian, Allison Earl. Come on up, Allison. Allison is being honored tonight for her dedication and hard work as McNamara Elementary School Librarian. Ms. Earl was recently awarded the 2024 Central New York School Librarians Soaring Through Excellence Super Librarian Award. It's a mouthful, and it's definitely spot on. The intentions of the award is to honor librarians in the Central New York region who have made significant contributions to envisioning and building the future of school library services. Ms. Earl was nominated by Lindsay Cesari, the library media specialist at Derby Junior High School. In her nomination, Mrs. Cesari wrote, Allison builds relationships with the school community via frequent outreach to families. Almost monthly, the library sponsors some kind of school-wide event or program and invites families to participate. Student voice is evident in many aspects of the library program. For example, after hearing from elementary-age Swifties that the library lacked books about their favorite performer, Allison developed a new mini collection to address their requests. Allison clearly has a strong work ethic and passion for her job. She's constantly innovating, which takes time and energy that only the truly passionate are able to provide. Congratulations, Allison. We appreciate everything you do for McNamara and the rest of our district.
Thank you.
And last but not least, not necessarily a staff spotlight, but a Board of Education spotlight, I do want to recognize a few of our Board of Education members. Just let me grab my certificates. You're here for that. So as you may recall, Mr. Jenkins was recognized with a Level 4 New York State School Boards Association Lifetime Service Recognition back in December. In one of our December meetings, we had the incoming president of the New York State School Boards Association here to recognize him. So we were excited about that, and we again congratulate Victor on that success. But this evening, we're also here to recognize those that have met other levels of board achievement. And so we're first going to recognize Wayne Davison with a Level 1 Board Achievement Award. And then we have Luke Gazowski. He also is receiving a Level 1 Board Achievement Award. He's unable to be here this evening due to work commitments, but we will make sure that he gets his recognition. Next, with the Level 1 Board Achievement Award, we have Vice President Andrew Henty. And last but not least, this year we have Sam Schraven, who is receiving this year a Level 2 Lifetime Achievement Award and a Level 3 Board Mastery Award. And so with that, Sam, congratulations. And before before we take a picture, Victor, if you want to come up too, Bruce.
That's okay,
You
I've
sure?
already got mine.
Okay.
have no pictures.
I just want to point out that, you know, a lot of times people don't understand the work that boards of education do. And these recognitions are for additional professional development and training that they have engaged in over the course of the year. And in this case, at least one of our members, Luke, this is their first year serving on the board. And so there's these thresholds, given the time, the dedication that they take away from their families in order to receive this recognition for professional development and engagement to better their craft and to support the rest of the board is certainly something to be excited about. So with that, we're happy for all of you and happy for the other members that are close to receiving one of those recognitions, and we look forward to recognizing them at a future meeting as well. So thank you.
Come on. You need your certificate. You sure? Want to hold that? Thank you.
Okay, congratulations, everyone, and we will commence shortly with the business portion of the meeting. So if some of you want to go and do homework or work on your next essay, feel free to do that, okay? Thank you so much for coming. Okay, correspondence, board activities, and committee reports. I know that just prior to this, there was a policy meeting, and I believe Mr. Hinton always reports on those policy meetings.
I'm actually going to let Don Miller do it.
Oh, okay.
It's probably usually Luke, but
Well, what an honor. Thank you, Mr. Henson. So we've been going through, and we're actually sort of toward the tail end of a fairly long year of kind of cleaning house. And we did a lot more of that earlier today. Some policies that I think really need, and the committee seemed to concur, that we really need to go through certain policies here toward the end of things. There's going to be a lot of back and forth, some good ideas getting tossed around, and we're looking forward to bringing those ideas forward to the board in the coming meetings.
Thank you. Anything else, any other activities that have been in the past, people want to take to the honor list? So we look forward to this Wednesday will be a community cafe. What is the topic, Joe?
It is on social emotional learning, mental health, and wellness.
Okay, great. And that will be in the cafeteria at 6 p.m. And then next Monday, right in this room, we'll have a Meet the Candidates night and a budget presentation. So next Monday, that's at 6 p.m. Yes, 6 p.m. So, okay. And certainly want to remind everybody that the election, budget vote, and board elections will be on Tuesday, the 21st, and it's now called the District Operations Building, the old bus garage at the end of Albert Palmer Lane. So, okay, anything else we've missed there? Got everything? Okay. Maya, report.
All right, so to start, AP test started today. I believe there was AP Government and one other. I took AP Government, so glad that that's done. Regarding the survey that was given to students, I believe it had been given originally on the Wellness Day, but because a lot of students weren't there, so they regave it. The results will be used with admin and future planning and meetings. The building leadership team and SAC, which is Student Advisory Council at Baker, reviewed them. Definitely a lot of positive feedback regarding belonging and connections with teachers. The admin want to find a way to kind of reach out to those who rated lower and their feeling of belonging. Puffs occurred over the weekend. I hope it went well. I wasn't able to go and see due to my schedule, but I'm sure it went amazing. Spring sports still occurring towards the end of May/early June. They'll be wrapping up. The building will be moving towards new and more advanced threat detection systems. It will make it so students don't have to remove as many things from their backpacks with the smarter technology. It will be worked into the morning process starting soon. I'm not exactly sure when. Junior prom is coming up. A senior ball will also be coming up June 1st at the On Center, while junior prom is May 18th at the high school. The PTA is planning KBR, which is ball rolling, first after senior ball. There'll be a distracted driver simulation for all junior students that is co-sponsored by the New York State Stop DWI program, and it's Anals Angel. May 30th. May 30th will be.
Oh, I think they all went down.
Yeah, everything went out.
Oh, that, I think. Okay. May 30th will be the seniors mock DWI accident presentation at the high school. All the end of year senior activities will be shared with students and parents Friday, May 10th. I will be assisting in the process of interviewing the next student board of ed members. I believe the interviews for the candidates start this week. College decision day for seniors will they be able to wear their college t-shirts or anything that they have will be May 15th. So do not know yet, don't ask me to. And the senior art show is also at the end of May. That's going to be, amazing. There's going to be like different art pieces from all the different classes. I've got some ceramics pieces, so I think they're pretty cool, but that's all that I have.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item is a public request to speak. We certainly appreciate hearing from the public. We do ask that you limit it to 3 minutes per speaker and use appropriate presentations. We're here for our students and expect that everyone speaking tonight will follow rules and everyone present will model behaviors that are expected of students in the school district. Tiffany, do we have any requests?
Yes, we have two. Nora Dubois for extracurricular activities.
Before I begin tonight, we've seen each other a few times. I want to give you a sense of who I am and my purpose here today. I'm a parent of 4 children, 3 who have graduated from the district and 1 who is currently a student. All 4 have been part of the marching band program. 1 has been part of the wrestling program and 2 have been part of the theater program. As you can imagine, I have been part of all of these programs as parents do. We have been heavily involved in the arts, so I'm very familiar with those outstanding programs that Baldwinsville puts together from my 12 years with the marching band alone. That being said, no one has asked me to come here. Not the theater program, band program, or the wrestling program. Most of you have never met me before because I'm not a person who enjoys making a fuss. I've only been to board meetings as a parent cheering on my kids as you've invited them for your spotlight. But I've been at the last many board meetings because sometimes a parent has to stand up when things are wrong. I think it is a critical error to teach our students and our community that things don't have a cost. I don't love coming to these board meetings. I come because this is a line that I really believe the district should not cross. I believe it gives the district a sense that we are being compassionate or being magnanimous, but we are being neither of those things. We should not rob our students and our community of the opportunity to show their support for our extracurricular programs. All of these programs come with a financial commitment, and it is the proper place of the board to sponsor them. But it is not appropriate to ask the Baldwinsville taxpayers to pay for all that these groups do. The extracurricular activities should be allowed to charge admission for performances and special events. To not allow them to do so causes unintended consequences, as we have seen with the musicals. I appreciate the work of this board, and I would be happy to dialogue with anyone on the board who is interested in exchange of ideas on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. Another speaker?
Steve Young, bring awareness to the taxpayer that policy here affects them.
Pulp's been amazing, by the way. The kids did great, and the set wasn't too bad, if I do say so myself. So after attending the parent meeting for the marching band.
Sir, your mic's not on.
The right hand, there we go. You're at your center.
All right. There we go. After attending the parent meeting for the marching band, we found that the district office has taken away the most powerful fundraising engine the marching band has in ticket sales for the home show. Just like what was done to BTAP, with the exception that BTAP was given $76,000 out of the general fund to cover their ticket sales. The marching band was given nothing to offset their ticket sales. So I need to ask a fundamental question. What do you think the difference is between building a set, buying costumes and whatnot for a play, versus building props, buying costumes and flags for a field band show? Additionally, there were 9 line items from the administration that were given as directives that the marching band has to follow, each leaving more questions than answers because, again, more decrees were sent down without being thought through completely or correctly. I'm not going to speak for anyone, but some of the questions and comments that were made at the parent meeting were things like, what's the difference between selling a ticket or selling a cheeseburger? Where's the district going to draw the line on what they give away for free? What percentage of our operating budget comes from ticket sales? And the answer we were given at that time was about 90%. Can we have the home show at another venue and charge admission there? Could you imagine that? It's the 50th anniversary of the home show. We're going to have it somewhere else? Can we get a judge from the Marching Band Association to come here and see what they think? I think that's a great idea. How are we going to control the quantity of people that show up, that we could be overrun? This isn't like the theater, right? This is a bunch of bands that come from all over, so your audience is going to be a lot bigger than what you're talking for the theater. Is the administration not concerned with the safety issue this presents? And the best one is that the administration is making the rules. Why aren't they here to answer the questions? I think that's the best idea of all. I think that you should come down to the parent meetings and you should explain yourself. If there's any merit to your idea, then you should have no problem standing behind it. The marching band sent out a communication to us that they did not want us to come to this board meeting and that we should wait to see how it all works. Well, I respectfully disagree, and I would assert that it is not about seeing how it works. It's about the misguided core belief that there's a need for everything in the district to be free in the name of equity in the community. That can be summed up in one word: wrong. There is no justification for ripping the carpet out from under the arts programs. In an attempt to raise the necessary funds, the marching band has started a booster club. The booster club officers were voted on at the end of that meeting. But there's an outstanding question that, to my knowledge, hasn't been answered yet, and that was, can the booster club charge for admission since the funds won't be going to an ECA? When I couple that with what I've heard here in these meetings about the money in the ECAs, I have to wonder, is this free agenda a redirect? Is it designed to get rid of ECAs, as many ECAs as it can, because the administration can't handle these accounts? Over the last little bit, the district office has been a revolving door, which brings up a whole other set of questions that we'll get to in meetings to come. If the administration can't handle these accounts, then they should just have asked us, the parents, for help. All of this could have been avoided had you just been truthful and honest with us. Making things happen is what we do. And as I've stated before, we won't let our kids' programs fail. There's significantly more talent and abilities on our side of the table, and we just need an administration that's big enough to ask for it. As a final thought, I've listened to the board tell us at each meeting that the community participation is encouraged. Well, I say let's get the community involved. First of all, as of last night, the link to the videos for these meetings doesn't work. I don't know if anybody knows that. And even if it did, they're hard to find. I've had several people that work in this district call me and ask me, where can I find these videos? Here's a suggestion that you can get done in 15 minutes. put a link to all the videos right on the Board of Education videos page. There's a spot right there, and you have to click on the videos page, and as of last night, it didn't work. But once you do click on it, when it did work, it's still very difficult to find. It takes quite a bit of time to find it. Well, we can get a picture of Ryan Reynolds wearing a Beeville jacket up there just fine, but we can't make the videos work. We need to stand behind our word and fix it. Second, let's put it up right on the main page. Everything is free, which means one way or another, your taxpayer dollars are going to pay for it. Well, if we're so proud, then we should be standing behind it. You want the accolades for your idea, then you need to be held accountable for everything that goes along with it. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. That's all the public speaking requests, I believe, correct? Okay. We will move on to the consent agenda. Resolve the Board of Education approve the consent agenda pursuant to the attached.
Oh, we know. They didn't stop working last night.
Second, Sam? Okay. Any questions on the consent agenda? It's been up there, so you've looked at it, I'm sure. I might just point out there are several budget transfers going on. And part of the reason for those budget transfers to transportation is that Tiffany can help me. They are buying iPads so that some of the bus routes for substitutes especially to be on an iPad and easily accessible versus trying to have a bunch of notes in front of you. I don't know if you want to expand on that, or is that?
Yeah, we're trying to improve our technology with safety on the bus, and also improve our app for parents to see where the buses are on their routes. So part of that is included in the transfers that you'll see this evening. And it is all aided through transportation aid. We've gotten approval from the State Education Department.
Okay, Kristen, any other questions, discussions on that? I think we're ready to vote then. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. New business A, on textbooks, resolve the Board of Education approve the textbook adoption of Eureka Math 2 by Great Minds Publishers to be used in grades P through 5, pre-K through 5, I guess that is, right? Through me for a minute. Mathematics classes and Desmos math curriculum by Amplify Education to be used in grade 6 general math classes pursuant to be attached. Andrew? You moved, right? Thank you. Tom? Okay, so that's been up there. Anything, any other questions on that? So this is for all elementaries essentially.
Yes.
Great. Okay. No, hearing no discussion, proceed to vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. 8B, resolve the Board of Education approve bid number 399, athletic equipment and supplies pursuant to be attached.
So moved.
Andrew?
Second.
Wayne? Discussion, questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now 8C, resolve the Board of Education approve bid number 400 for automotive supplies pursuant to be attached.
So moved.
Jeremy? Tom? These are all competitive bids, right? So we know we got the lowest bidder, best price. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, move to vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And now 8D, resolve the Board of Education approve the appointment of chairperson, machine technician, PSS specialist, election inspectors, chief election inspectors, assistant poll clerks for the Baldwinsville Central School District 2024-25 budget vote and school board elections held on May 21st, 2024. Don, or do I have Sam? Sam, Don, okay.
Mr. President, just a note, I'm not related to the Deb Miller who is on this list. Just
Thank you.
for full disclosure.
Okay. Okay. Don't think there'll be any discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carries, and we certainly thank these people. These are not paid positions, these are volunteer positions. So we appreciate the community coming in and helping us. Now, 8E, resolve the Board of Education accept the Eldon Elementary School slide and plaque donation pursuant to the attached. Sam, Don. This is for a deceased teacher.
No, this is for, in recognition of all of the eternal Eldon Eagles. There's been, over the course of a few years, last couple of years,
Former Eldon students that
tragedy in that building. And this is to honor and memorialize those students. And so we're very thankful for the anonymous donation that is allowing the district, through the help of staff at Eldon, to purchase another slide and a plaque that will be represented on the screen that you see there at the playground at Eldon Elementary School.
Yeah, well, done in good taste too, so. Okay, any thoughts, discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And 8F, resolve the Board of Education accept the Reynolds Elementary School tree and plaque donation pursuant to the attached.
So moved.
Don, Sam? Now, I got ahead of myself, this is the one for the teacher.
Correct. This is being donated by the Women's Garden Club of Baldwinsville in recognition of Peggy Ginniff, who passed away March 24th, 2024, and she was a 30-plus year teacher at that building.
It was nice of the garden club to honor her. Discussion, questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And so now that takes us, that's the new business on the agenda. That takes us to the roundtable. And the roundtable will continue some discussions on, as you saw in the past, the funding improvements and building the future. So I'll turn it over to Joe and I don't know who else took any.
We'll all chime in a little bit here, but we wanted an opportunity to provide the board with additional information based on the conversations at our previous meetings and hoping to get a little bit more clarity as we continue to move forward. Certainly there's no final decisions, and the board hasn't acted on anything at this point yet, but our goal is to just put out more information about the options that are being presented based on the various studies that we've done over the last few years. So as you know, with funding improvements and building the future, our essential question here as we continue to analyze this decision, which reconfiguration option maximizes efficiency while providing equitable opportunities and experiences for all of our BCSD students. So when we highlight some of the work, we've talked at previous meetings at our work sessions about the scenarios that were recommended by the consultants that we have been working with. Scenario A, the option there, as you may recall, brings students together, not completely, in grades 4, 5, and 6. That's with essentially 2 upper intermediate schools. And then the students come together in grades 7 through 9 at Durgan Junior High School. So we've got this PK to 3 configuration, 4-6 configuration, 7-9, and 10-12. Scenario B is similar in nature, but it does not partially get us there with bringing students together at that upper intermediate level. It basically brings all of the students together at Ray Middle School in grades 4 through 6. So still sticking with the PK to 3 in our elementary schools, 4 through 6 at upper intermediate, 7 through 9 at Durgan Junior High School, and 10 through 12 at Baker High School. So there's a recap of those scenarios. What we chose to do based on the last board discussion was to break down the study's findings along with some benefits to scenario A or scenario B, along with what is consistent between both options. So when we look at enrollment, and you can read this, I don't think I need to highlight all of the reasons, but we know that ultimately one of the priorities from what we heard from our stakeholder group is that the priority of making sure that our 7th grade students are on our main campus. That was in the previous study done with funding improvements, or funding the future, and in this recent study with funding improvements and building the future. Scenario A, specifically with enrollment, it leaves us with 2 elementary buildings north of the Seneca River, 2 elementary buildings south of the Seneca River. Currently, we have 3 below, 2 above. Allows for the 7th grade move, possibly allowing for Eldon to become swing space in order for us to get 7th grade over to the main campus earlier than what would be possible through construction with work at Durkee Junior High School. It utilizes Eldon Elementary School, as I mentioned, as swing space, which allows for construction and upgrades to Van Buren Elementary School. We know those 2 buildings are most aging buildings, and they need some renovations. Same thing happens with scenario B. What I will say about scenario B is that it leaves 1 elementary building north of the Seneca River and 3 below the Seneca River. So that still creates, and you'll see that on the graphic later in the presentation. Are there questions about the enrollment or facilities? We know we need this at some point in order to continue to expand our universal pre-K program, and with the anticipated growth of our school community due to Micron and other advanced manufacturing and businesses coming into the area. When we look at instruction and staffing, and I'll let Renee highlight a few of these pieces as well, both scenarios allow us to more appropriately create age-appropriate settings for students based on the learning standards and New York State learning standards. They also align with certifications areas for teachers, as well as collective bargaining agreements. We've heard from many families that when students right now in their experiences at Durkee and Ray, only being 2 years at a time, if they never are able to build that culture, that school community, it's too short of a time compared to the experiences that they've had at their elementary schools for what would be 6 years. So this allows us to expand those grade level configurations so that we have more time in buildings to build that sense of culture and strengthen relationships. It also allows us to ensure that we have universal pre-K through grade 3 in all 4 of those remaining buildings, and adequate space, as I mentioned. I'll let Renee talk a little bit about other instructional benefits.
So one of the things that we had talked about was in scenario B, when you have all of your teachers in one building per grade level, the opportunities to communicate your messaging is streamlined. When you have 2 separate buildings, so if you have a 4-6 at Ray and 4-6 at the current Reynolds, regardless of how strong your messaging is, you have 2 different cultures, you have 2 different principals communicating those messages. And so, and any of you who've worked in a building, you understand that each building has their own school culture. So the benefit of B would be certainly the stronger messaging. In these both scenarios, the grade bands would be appropriate. Many of the standards that New York State puts out are by grade band, and so these would fit into those grade bands very nicely for most of those subject areas. So the opportunities for collaboration in scenario B definitely support having all 4th grade teachers having those opportunities to come together, 5th grade, 6th grade. And then in scenario A, you get half of the 4th grade teachers collaborating together, the other half collaborating together, but not everybody together. So when you look at the potential for
questions on instruction or staffing before we shift to other areas? Okay.
So the other point, just to reaffirm, is that 7 through 12 are secondary certifications for teachers. So it's just only natural to group those people together, and then pre-K through 6 are elementary certifications.
Yeah,
That's
some of
correct.
our elementary teachers, they may have extension certifications that go into 7-9. So potentially a K-6 teacher might have a 7 through 9 English extension that could allow them to move up and teach an English class. But typically, these certifications would be K-6, 7, 12.
So as we shift to finances, we were pleased to see no matter which option we end up going down that road for scenario A or scenario B, the cost is essentially the same, pretty close, within reasonable, figures. So ultimately, our goal, no matter which scenario is selected, is that we are working down this path of maximizing building aid and the usage to reduce the impact on local taxpayers. We've done that in our most recent projects. We anticipate doing that moving forward. I also think what's important to highlight is no matter which option is selected, there's still going to be work tied to other buildings because we have to maintain, we still have areas within our building condition survey and just in our instructional needs assessments to expand the instructional opportunities of students in those other buildings as well. So there could be additions, there could be renovations of space to make it more appropriate for learning across the district. You see the approximate share and difference between the building aid and the maximum cost allowance as it stands right now. And we believe no matter which option, we can get more in detail as we move through this process regarding finances of how to best do this so that the impact is minimized on our local taxpayer. We're thankful for the community support of capital improvement projects in the past, as well as the creation of capital reserves, and we have healthy reserves that are going to help us no matter which option or future project we put forward for our school community. It was asked at the last the board work session to talk a little bit about transportation. And both scenarios, you see the information there. This is how our current graphic looks with elementary attendance zones. And so we are busing students all over the district. Our hope is no matter which option is selected, we're maximizing, we're becoming more efficient with transportation. So once we have a better idea of where the board is leaning, we can do more work. We're going to have to do transportation efficiency studies, all of that, no matter which option. Or even if we keep things, which we know based on the consultants' work, as they stand right now. We know that that was not supported by any of the committee members. It was, I think, loud and clear that our current configuration is not going to sustain us moving forward. We have to think beyond. And so no matter what we do, we will work through additional studies to look at the impact on transportation. But what I wanted to highlight here is this graphic. And I think for those of you, hopefully you don't think we're crazy, but this highlights essentially where our students currently live in grades PK to 5 for those attendance zones. So any pink dot is a student that attends Van Buren. And you can see the other colors. And what I want to point out is the configuration again, which you all know. We have 3 schools below the river. We have 2 schools above the river. And when you look at who are the students that attend Palmer Elementary School, this zone, pretty much all of the yellow, which I would say that is the one building that has students attending in a zone that's most closely connected to where the school is. Take a look at Van Buren over here in the green. As you know, Seneca Knolls and then the Radisson community, of which we're transporting across the district to attend school in that zone. Even Reynolds, you'll see the Village Green area, and all of that upper northern west quadrant of our school community, and some of our more rural routes near the Beaver Lake and the Plainville area. Even Eldon Elementary School here in the village, while it mostly comprises students that attend that zone, we still have some north of the Radisson community, as well as other areas near the Kimbrook and the River Knoll section. And last but not least, that pink location where we have Van Buren Elementary School, what could be considered a more community school inside the village, but we're drawing people from the farthest sections of the town of Van Buren. So no matter what we do, as recommended in the study, no matter which configuration the district ends up selecting as we move forward, we're going to have to look at our attendance zones as we do this work. The next couple slides give you an idea of our elementary population by grade level. So what we wanted to highlight here is, take, for example, all of the yellow in fourth grade. As you know, we bus from across the district for Ray Middle School in grades 6, 7. So this graphic really represents that we still have the ability to do that. I mean, as you see, although the fifth graders are represented across the district from the outer sections of our district boundaries to the close connected sections within the village of Baldwinsville. And the same thing happens for all of the other grade levels. So just another way to look at our elementary population based on density. This graphic pulls out our pre-K students only, because as we talked about this work, given the length of time for construction and other projects, we know that the student population that this will most closely impact will be our UPK students and possibly our K students, because we know it just takes so long in order to get project approved by the New York State Education Department, as well as just projects completed. So this, again, shows us where our current pre-K students live within our boundaries, which might help us at some point if we end up having to make some decisions about redistricting when we start to think to the future about potentially 4 elementary zones as opposed to 5. And the last graphic here represents the 5th grade students who will definitely be moving forward to the junior high school, and they'll likely be done by the time any work's done at Derby. There'll be Baker High School students and/or students that have graduated, but this also highlights that same concept that they're all over the district as it stands right now. So we leave you with some feedback that we know from our community conversation that took place during our community cafe on January 31st. These are comments from participants that also may have participated in the actual study with our consultants. We know this is going to take a long time. What is best for students and staff? Timeline's painful. It's difficult to make decisions for graduating class that isn't even enrolled yet. We need to start now. Time is money. Delay will certainly be painful. So those were some highlights of the conversation that took place with our stakeholders when we brought forward initially the consultant's report. So I leave you with that, and certainly ask you for any additional questions, comments, areas of information that you'd still like to see as we continue to navigate our process and data collection, and certainly giving you what you feel you need.
Joe, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about how it would impact the plan and the students not to have that out in swing space.
So I still believe we can work, and if we know that the board is potentially settling in on option B, because option A has the swing space in it. I do believe that even with option B, we can think through, you know, is there a way to utilize Eldon for swing space if we need to do that so that the 7th grade can get on the main campus sooner rather than later, if that is a desire. So I do believe we have the ability. We just need to think that through more clearly. Utilizing Eldon, we're certainly going to do what we can to advocate for additional funding, and I know the board's talked about resolutions. You know, if we don't have one of those buildings offline for either swing space so that we can do construction at Van Buren and Eldon at some point in time, we're never going to get those buildings up to the standard that they need to be standard based on when they were constructed. So we need to do something, and I think no matter which option we choose, we have to take that into consideration, and we have to make sure that we are utilizing that space so that we can get the work done. Because the easiest thing right now is we can't build new, but we can renovate. We're incentivized to renovate, but when we renovate in those spaces, we're going to have to renovate as if it's a new space. Similar to what we're doing at Baker High School with the new pool. You know, we're renovating the old gymnasium to create the new structure. So it's in our best interest at this time, unless things change, to make sure that Eldon is available for swing space.
Thank you.
Yep.
George, just a quick question. I just need to check my understanding of finance. And it's a higher level question, it's not in the weeds. It looks like the scenario B is delivering a little bit more renovation, or dollars for renovation, and is aided a little bit more generously.
Correct.
Than option A.
Because right now, Ray, the building aid units are based on 7th grade, being at Ray Middle School, and I know Tiffany is more the expert in this area, but 7th grade gets aided at a higher rate. So as we do this work, so when projects go forward, when SED, we may have to delay some timelines in order to still have 7th grade. So we might be doing this work, if that is the option, where we're building on to Ray Middle School before we end up eventually transitioning 7th grade out, because we want to maximize the aid.
So it looks like, roughly, just rough numbers, it looks like roughly a $4 million difference.
Yep.
Between the plans.
Correct. And the impact on the taxpayer using that difference, though, is just over 2.5.
Right.
So that would require us, in theory, to have more in reserves to offset the local share, or in the scope of the project, we'd have to potentially propose a slight increase in taxes so that we can do some of this work. But all of that would be, once we kind of know where we're going, that's a lot of work that our consultants will have to put forward so that we can make sure that we're maximizing our.
And the extra reserves or the slight increase to the levy would be with option A, is that right?
Correct. Yep, as it stands right now, option A, right, the difference is, again, these are figures based on what they're projecting now, and obviously that could change, and it's based on our current building aid figures that we have from SED. So you are correct, there is more of a cost with scenario A over scenario B. Other questions, or how about areas that you would like further research, data, feedback?
Talk about maximizing that space at Ray, the 7th graders again. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understand that.
So in order for us to transition, if we're going to add on to Ray Middle School, it is in our best interest to have students, 7th grade students, at Ray during this construction. When you're adding an addition, it's not going to necessarily impact, because it's not renovations, but the work with adding the additional 20 classrooms it is in our best interest, unless things change, to have seventh grade there, because they're aided at a higher rate than our elementary students. And that has nothing that we can control, that's all SED, based on how they determine maximum cost allowances for that building.
So that would mean you have to justify that additional build. You justify that by saying we're moving grades 4 and 5 over.
Correct. Or at least initially it might be, because seventh grade's still there, the plan to move fifth grade over. So we'd have to time things out. And that's all, we set the plan, this is what it's going to be, and then how do we make that plan come to fruition with the help of, following the state guidelines. So that's why we're trying to keep at that higher level of what is it that we really want this district to be moving forward, and then we will work backwards in order to make sure that we're maximizing, and then there'll be a timeline. That's why we're saying it's going to take so much time, and why we think that the kids that will be impacted will be the K students, and maybe at the earliest, if things all align, our K students. So going back to what we said previously, the decisions that are being made really impact students that don't even exist yet or are attending our schools.
But we do want to get seventh grade over to the main campus.
Correct.
Because it's beneficial for teaching and for the classes and stuff.
Yep. So it might work out depending on which option we go. I mean, we know we can't get back to Derby for 5 years to put up another, to start that construction or submit to SED. So there is a 5-year window that we have, which ultimately, if we're making decisions about adding on to Ray, it's possible that that work can be close to being completed if we time things correctly before we can even start construction at Derby. And that might be the time when students then transition to Eldon as a swing space if they're in seventh grade. I mean, those are things that once we know instructionally what's most beneficial and where we want the reconfiguration to be, we can work in all of those priorities that the board has and our community members have. So if it's definitely, as soon as we can get accepted, we will figure out how to make that happen in the most cost-effective way.
Would it be beneficial to, sorry, would it be beneficial to look into potentially using, because Van Buren and Eldon both need full renovation, correct? And I know that we want to use Eldon to get the seventh graders on the main campus, but what about using Van Buren as the TBD instead of Eldon, so that we had 2 elementaries above and 2 below the river?
All of that's possible. Those were, again, these were based on the recommendations initially from our stakeholder group, and as a board, if that's an area that, we want to focus, we can look at just shifting. I mean, bottom line, the work's got to be done in both those buildings, so whether you start at Eldon or you start in Van Buren, I think there's some flexibility there. But a lot of that does depend on if seventh grade is already transitioned to the campus or not.
So I was wondering, where is the most growth as far as building possibilities, so that if, we go to 4 schools and we redistrict, will we have to do that again, depending on where we're gonna, builds will come up?
So it was funny because Tiffany and I were with the town of Lysander today, and we had a conversation about sewer and where we stand with that. And based on Micron and what they have available for potential growth, there's a lot of area that's available in that, I would say that Palmer quadrant, that portion of what I would term as the peninsula, based on how our government kind of refers to it, between the river and the other river. So we have areas there that are, I think, potentially further along for construction. I haven't heard anything more with the town of Van Buren where they stand with the Kriegel Farm development, but I do know that there's a lot of space available in the town of Lysander, not that there isn't in the town of Indiana either, but it's, again, closer to where the major Micron plant will be and potentially other advanced manufacturing. So would people want to build or reside, that's still unknown at this time. Other questions or areas for focus? Well, as you think of things, just please let us know, and we can continue to brainstorm ideas and try to get you what you need and what our community needs in order to make a final decision moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sure we'll be talking about this a lot more, but with that, I think we're ready for exec, so resolved that the Board of Education enter into executive session for the purpose of collective negotiations pursuant to the Taylor Law, to discuss the Baldwinsville Substitute Teachers Association contract and the employment history of a particular person. So, Don? Go ahead. Wayne. Thank you, Wayne. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, so we'll take a 5-minute break and go into exec. Thank you.
Christy, I will send you a new Zoom link.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.